Cowabunga dudes, so it's been a little while. My last video was about 11 months ago now, and I pretty much haven't been able to skate ever since then. As some of you know, I used to be a professional MMA fighter, and that was like my whole life. That was what I did full time, and my last fight was in 2009, and a couple of months after that I became very unwell and started having some pretty bad neurological symptoms, severe nerve pain, pins and needles, numbness all the way down my left side of my body, left side of my chest, left arm, up my neck. And I was admitted to hospital for a couple of weeks while they tried to figure out what was going on and see if I had a problem with my heart. And I had every test going under the sun for your heart and your cardiovascular system, and that could come back normal. Since then, the neurological symptoms have just been getting worse and worse, and I've been unable to train MMA and martial arts properly since then. The severe pins and needles, nerve pain, muscle spasms and cramping, it's just spread all the way down the left side of my body over the next few years, and over the last couple of years it's been going down the right side of my body. Trying to give a really abbreviated version of things here, but the reason I haven't really shared this on YouTube or social media because I really haven't had a proper diagnosis, even though I'm constantly pestering the doctors to try and find out what's going on, get treated. I still haven't got a proper diagnosis. Saw one neurologist about 5 years ago. They did some tests, MRI of my brain and spine, come back normal, and he diagnosed me with something called functional neurological disorder, which is when you have some symptoms, or you can have symptoms of multiple sclerosis or Parkinson's or things, neurological symptoms along those lines, but they can't find a physical reason on the tests for this to be happening. And the treatment has pretty much just been high dose of muscle relaxers to try and stop the spasming, the cramping. Weightlifting and martial arts seem to make the symptoms worse, and because I have so many damaged joints from martial arts and powerlifting in the past, that those activities just seem to just make things worse for my joints and for my neurological symptoms. Last July I became very unwell, to say the least. Just after I landed my tray flip, I began getting severe pain all around my prostate and my groin and that area, and I was diagnosed with prostatitis, which is when your prostate is inflamed and it causes unbelievable pain all around your groin area. There's very little that they can do to treat that other than antibiotics they throw at you. They threw antibiotics at me for 3 months because apparently it takes a long time for the antibiotics to be absorbed into the prostate. But that was one of the most horrendous things I've been through in my life. The pain is unbelievable. Everywhere around your groin is just in severe, unbelievable pain all the time, or at least that was the case for me. It's now 11 months later, and now thankfully over the last few months it's really settled down and it's feeling much better. Yeah, I won't be doing a video on that. That was just unbelievably painful and horrible. But around November, my neurological symptoms began to get worse as well, especially on the right side of my body, which sucks because usually it's the left side that's much worse. And for both the prostatitis pain and the nerve pain for my neurological problems, I was given high doses of nerve painkillers, which is like gabapentin and pregabalin. Gabapentin actually made it worse, made my pins and needles more painful, and so I did that for a few months. Didn't work. They put me on pregabalin. That just didn't really seem to do anything. So yeah, painkillers don't really help whatever is wrong with me. I just have to stick with the muscle relaxants. But because things have been getting so much worse, I pushed with my GP to get seen by a second neurologist and get another opinion. And I was sent to another hospital the next town over. Because of the whole pandemic that's going on, I was spoken to through a phone appointment with a neurologist. He told me that it doesn't sound like functional neurological disorder, but he's not sure what it is. And first thing they wanted to do was get me in an MRI and scanned again. At this point, my symptoms were so bad that my upper back and my legs were spasming, like cramping, out of control. The pins and needles and nerve pain was just on another level. I mean, the pins and needles were so strong that they were painful, and I couldn't walk. But the 1 week where it was at its worst, I couldn't walk more than 400 meters. Like I've been forcing myself to go out and walk for a couple of miles, and during this week I would get 200 meters down the road, and my legs are just not doing what I'm telling them to do, wobbling all over the place and just spasming. Can't even tell you how bloody scary and stressful that was. So the neurologist sent me for an urgent MRI to get my brain and my spine scanned, and a couple of weeks later those results came back as normal, which is good in a way, but it's really frustrating because I still don't know what's wrong with me. 11 years I've been dealing with these symptoms and no closer to finding out what it is. If it is functional neurological disorder, that isn't necessarily comforting at all, where it's just a case of there's no physical reason for this to be happening, and it's just the brain and the nervous system and the rest of the body not communicating properly. That's not necessarily comforting at all to me, because there are many people with functional neurological disorder that are confined to a wheelchair or their bed and they can't walk. And I've been dealing with this for 11 years, so if there's no real treatment for it other than my muscle relaxers, then that makes me worry that it's not going to get better. But thankfully over the last couple of months my symptoms have gotten better. I'm able to walk again properly, and I obviously haven't been skating over the last year because either I'm in way too much pain to skate, or my legs are just cramping up, and my coordination in my legs is just so bad that it's not safe to skate. Fortunately, things have improved enough where I've been able to start skating it again and get a little bit exercise. This week I've been able to finally, after 11 months, get back on the board again. It's finally been safe to do so, and at first I was so unbelievably rusty because just nothing, my legs weren't doing what I was telling them to do. Couldn't even ollie. It's just like an hour of just messing up over and over again, and then finally something started to click. Started landing my tricks again. So obviously my legs are not what they used to be. There's still a lot of, even though I take my muscle relaxers, I still get a lot of cramps and a lot of nerve pain, pins and needles and stuff like that in my legs. After an hour of skating, my legs start cramping up, and I can't do quite as much as I used to, but hopefully that'll get better with time. But yeah, it feels good to finally be back out on the board, and I'm going to make sure not to overdo it, but it feels good to finally be back, getting some exercise and landing some tricks again. feels good to be back on the ball. This has been the worst year of my life, but this year's been tough for everyone, you know. And life is a fight. Everyone gets knocked down, but what matters is that you keep getting up and keep fighting, no matter what.